Disclaimer: this video will cover the 3 easy steps you need to take to get the perfect thumbnails. This video will cover Minecraft thumbnails specifically, but these tips are essential and can be applied to any thumbnail. I can confidently say you will never need another guide after watching this one. The first thing I like to start off with is my character. The rig I'm using is the OrangeGoober V9. You can change the skin here by clicking on these bars and then selecting the skin. Another important thing to note is your skin should be downloaded at high quality. So once I have the skin, I'm then going to choose the angle. Now I normally like to go from this side just because I don't really have a reason actually. Sometimes I will go for this side. It depends if there's like multiple things in the thumbnail or what perspective, or if they're looking at something in particular. Now this pose is just going to be a very simple pose, and I like to keep the arms relatively straight. I don't like the bends. You can obviously bend your arms, but I like it to resemble the game Minecraft as much as possible. Another important thing to note with the arms is I like it to be 2 dimensions. Let's say I had my arm out like this and it looked like that. It doesn't look right. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. I'm going for a bit of a walking pose. Imagine this is like a Minecraft survival let's play. So as you can see, this is a very simple pose, and maybe there's something over there that he's a little bit like, huh, what's that over there? The Lightroom I'm using is no longer available, but I will leave a link down to a Lightroom I recommend. The Lightroom helps give your character a very high quality. When you go over here, so you got these 3 bits here, like the video clipper thing. Here, you want to make sure that the save is a PNG. If it's not a PNG, you're going to be spending extra time taking out the background, and it just makes a very clean, nice render. So I'm going to click this middle one here, render to picture, and it's just going to start rendering my character. Here we have the render. So to begin with, I like to add a gradient overlay and inner glow to my render, and then you can see it's already starting to pop out a little bit more and become a bit shiny. Now to do this, I add a color dodge with a slight opacity and then a size of about 15 and a range of this, and you want inner glow to be white. Then the gradient overlay, I do overlay, and then I have about 70% opacity. You can see if I go too extreme, it's really dark here and really bright there. So you want to find that nice balance, and then the gradient is a simple black to white. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to merge that into a layer, and then down here you can see this circle. First things first, I'm going to make the guy a bit brighter. People are more drawn to brighter thumbnails. It depends on what the video is as well. Sometimes you might want to go darker. I'm going to bring the brightness up a little bit, and then the contrast just gives it a little bit of edge. So depending on the skin, some skins are a bit darker. This is quite a light skin, so I'm not going to go too crazy. I'm just going to merge that with the skin now. The next thing I'll do to this render is I'll up the saturation. So I'll probably go around 20% on the saturation. You can see it just kind of gives the hair and everything else a nice kind of golden feeling. So I'm gonna leave him central for this thumbnail. The next thing that you want to consider is what background you're using. Now I do recommend investing in a thumbnail pack. I've got my own, so if you want that, let me know and maybe I can release a custom Minecraft thumbnail pack for you guys. It's also nice to look around on YouTube, and you can find lots of free packs out there and screenshot packs or something very specific for your needs. I'll grab this screenshot. I also, similar to how I did with the render, I'm also going to add a little bit of brightness and a little bit of saturation. So like I said, brighter thumbnails tend to stand out more, and there you can see it's a little bit brighter there. And then saturation works really nice on green things. So if you have a green skin, saturation is going to go really nicely. So I'll up that to about 50. When I turn that off, everything goes from being like a dull sort of color to a bit more vibrant. Put that behind my character. It's a very bright thumbnail. I'm just going to add a slight blur to the background. I don't want it to be too crazy, so I'm going to go over to filter, blur, fill blur, and it automatically will set to this, but I don't want the background to be too invisible, but I do want the attention to be drawn to the character. What I will then do, I will get the Minecraft logo. Now this can easily be found on Google Images, and you can just position it behind the character like that. Now if you're wanting to go a little bit more in depth, you can play around with stuff. I like to use anime lines, and I find this just kind of makes the focal point of the thumbnail a little bit more obvious. And let's drag those all the way back. If you wanted to, you could add an inner glow to this Minecraft text. That might look nice. That might make it stand out a little bit more as well. You can up the brightness of it as well if you want it to be standing out even more. So let's say I'll bring the brightness up a bit to 50%, and you can see it's a little bit whiter, so I'll merge that with that. Maybe the anime lines are standing out a little bit too much, so I'll just bring those down a little bit. Now let's say you want more of the character in the thumbnail. That's absolutely doable. The only thing I do for this, you want the character to be roughly in scale. So I'd say that's a nice scale. All I would do to our guy, create a new layer, then I'm going to get the circle tool and I'm going to roughly kind of map out the feet. It doesn't really matter how perfect the circle is at this moment, and I'm then just going to adjust the size a bit. So I think that needs to be a little bit smaller, and all I'm going to do is I'm just going to lower the opacity so it's very unnoticeable to the eye when you do this. And for this, you don't need to overthink thumbnails too much. I could get rid of these anime lines and it's perfectly fine. Sometimes less is more on thumbnails, so it's always worth considering. And I always like to zoom out as well, because that's probably how it'd be viewed on YouTube. It's very simple to do these things, and it's very quick, and from that you can start building and building and building and playing with ideas, and it's always good to experiment, like I did with the guy's size or the Minecraft text. So that's how I make a very simple thumbnail. Like I said, if you guys want a very simple Minecraft pack, I can include my inner glows, how I do my camera corrections, some basic Minecraft logos or stocks and stuff like that. Let me know in the comments, leave a like on the video and just let me know, and I'd be perfectly happy doing that, and I can release that in one of my later videos. Thank you everybody for watching. Make sure to stay awesome. Goodbye.